Um, hey everyone, my name is Jessica DeLovely. I'm a North Carolina-based model, originally from California. Been doing modeling for about 7 years, so looking forward to collabing with all of you. Instagram handle is DeLovely20, DeLovely20.
What's up, you guys? This is Devin from CenturyFX Studios, back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about 3 different light modifiers and explaining the differences between the 3. It's the beauty dish, the ring light, and the softbox. Now we're going to get into what I'm using today. I'm using the Yongnuo 600EX RT Speed Light Mark 1. I'm also using the E3 RT trigger to trigger this light wirelessly. I'm also using a softbox. This is an octagonal softbox. This is just to represent what a softbox is, but I'm going to be actually using a square softbox for the tutorial. There's no main difference except the shape of the light. The size of the light is almost exactly the same, so the quality of light is going to be extraordinarily similar. Almost no difference there. So we also have a ring light. This ring light is just a basic speed light ring light that you find on any generic or merchant that sells generic products. So we also have an Opteka beauty dish. This beauty dish comes with 2 inserts, a reflective insert, and we also have a glossy type insert. And we also have a softbox cover for that, but we're not going to be using that softbox cover because we're using a softbox in this already. So with all that being said, this is what we're using for this episode, and let's get right into the comparison. All right, guys, we're back in the Lightroom catalog, and the first picture that we took was of Jessica with the beauty dish with the gloss insert. So I'm getting a mix here, this kind of hybrid light going on, whereas if we look at the shadows here, we have a really abrupt shadow, which really tells me that, hey, I'm using a hard light source, and there's an abundance of light being shot to this model, and that's what's giving me this hard light source, almost like the sun. But when we look in the face, we still have some soft qualities going on. It's kind of hard and kind of soft at the same time. So it's kind of like a happy medium with this light source with the quality of light. So you get a little bit of the hard light and a little bit of the soft light. So I can see in her cheeks that we get a wash more so than anything else of just light. It doesn't really give you too many specular highlights. It doesn't give you too many dark tones in the skin. It's a very highbrow image, spotlighty look. Nice work with the beauty dish. I'm seeing a lot of saturation here, so you can kind of tell what that gloss insert does to the beauty dish, especially if you have never seen a beauty dish before. The gloss insert really makes everything more saturated, more punchy. It also makes everything more revealed like a hard light, but it kind of gives you a mix of hard light and soft light. So that's what you're looking forward to with the gloss insert inside the beauty dish. Now, as we move on to the next image is of the reflector insert of the beauty dish. So it's still with the beauty dish, but we have a reflector insert. Now the reflector insert, I can already notice on her cheek that I'm getting quite a bit more specular highlight. You can see quite a bit more specular highlight on the forehead and on the cheeks. We're getting a lot more definition here in this image, a lot more hard lines. But as you can see at the bottom here with the shadow, we have some shadow play going on here where the shadow actually recedes a little bit and it gets hard right under the chin. So I think it cut into the shadow a little bit more and kind of made a little bit of a gradient effect on the shadow. So the shadow kind of falls off a little bit lighter than it did with the gloss insert. With the gloss insert, if we go back, we already noticed that the shadow just fell off really, really hard. But with the reflective insert, it didn't fall off as fast. As a matter of fact, I actually lost a stop of light. If you can look off here to the right in the catalog, I lost a stop of light. I had to actually bring this up. If we were to actually look at it as it originally was, this is how much light I lost. I did not move. I did not change the settings. As you can see, the settings are exactly the same, and I did not move the light source. This is exactly where it was. I just changed the insert. And with that reflector on the inside, it lost the stop of light from the beauty dish. A lot of light modifiers take some light from the actual light source to actually make it and give you a certain quality of light. And that's exactly what this beauty dish does. Now, with this reflector insert, we're going to go a little bit more depth here. We got some hard lines, some hard edges, but at the same time, we have some soft light. If I go back to that one stop that I had in here, I'm going to type in that one stop again, and now we can really make a critique on this image. I see a lot more specular highlights. This image would work well with a more traditional light setup. Like if you're more used to, let's say if you're going to send this off to someone like a beautician or fashion or makeup industry, this would be a more standard look. Now, if you were making like what do they call those comp cards that the models have, this would be perfect for the comp card because it's a standard look. It gives you less of creativity. It's more neutral, if I would say, with the skin tones and the amount of lines that you see. It's closer to real life. If you go back to the gloss insert, the gloss insert is a little bit more showy. It's a little bit more contrast. Excuse me. It's a little bit less contrastier, but it has a lot more pop. If you notice, here's the gloss insert. Now look at the shirt. When I go to the reflective insert, it doesn't have as much pop and flair to it. I would use the glossy insert for anything makeup oriented because look at her lips. They pop and they shine with the gloss insert inside the beauty dish. Whereas if I go back, they pop and shine with this one, but not as much luster and not as much reds are being seen out of this reflective insert. So those are the two differences between the two beauty dish inserts. Now we're going to go to another light modifier, which is the ring light. Now, as you can see, the ring light here, it took away all the shadows. There's no shadows whatsoever, but I had to get a little bit closer with the ring light. And as you notice, my f-stop changed drastically. Putting your speed light in that ring light, it eats up all the power. I didn't change the power of my speed light. Only thing I changed was my settings from F7.1 to 3.2. That's quite a few stops. And then, that's quite a bit of light. And then I also boosted it up almost to a stop, 0.83 of a stop. And so it was, let's just say a lot of light was lost. Even though I'm getting closer with the ring light, a lot of light was still lost. If you look close enough, you'll see that it's in a circular form. If I would have gotten a little bit closer, I would have amplified that catch light in her eyes so you can see it a little bit more traditionally. But with that being said, there's no shadows. No shadows going on here. It's a nice little wash going on here. You get a nice mix of specular highlights along with just regular skin tones here. But it definitely still has that washy look to it. The same quality of light would come from the SoftBox that's coming up next, but there's not much to say about the ring light because you can't move as much with the ring light. Now it has the washy look, and if you're going for the ring light look, you got it. But there's not much you can do with a speed light ring light. So if I were you, I would get probably like a constant light that's a ring and a bigger one, because what this will do is amplify the effect in the eyes and really make it dramatic. Because right now, it just looks like a regular catch light when it's actually a ring light. But if you're not close enough with that ring light, it's hard to really pull off a ring in the eyes like you want. And the last modifier would be the softbox. Now, the softbox here, I went in the back and I put a kicker in the back so she's kicked from the background. But here is the softbox, and I feathered it a little bit, but it's on key left, so it's on the left of the camera here, and as you can see, it's soft, just like the ring light. It doesn't leave any shadows under the chin. The only shadows that you see is from her hands coming into play, but for the main part of it, you don't see any shadows anywhere. As far as the low lights and the highlights, you don't get that many specular highlights. It's a wash. You don't get any shadows, but you don't get that many highlights either. It really hides a lot of fine details from the face. And this is more traditional, what people use most of the time as a softbox. But with all that being said, now that you know the differences between these three light modifiers, you might go to the beauty dish more often, or you might go to the ring light more often for the catch light in the eyes and things of that nature. Like I said, you want to amplify that catch light in the eye. I didn't do a good job of representing it here, but probably get a ring light that really amplifies that ring in the eyes of your subject. With all that being said, I'm Devin with CenturyFX Studios. These are the images that I took. Let me know your comments in the comment boxes below. Let me know what you think. Have you come across something a little bit different? But these are the main differences between the SoftBox beauty dish and the ring light.